Hello, everybody. Today is my birthday, so I'm going to do a special review of The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past, or Triforce of the Gods. I hope you guys enjoy it. Few games inspire like the games we grew up with. To me, this included games like Super Mario Bros., Donkey Kong Country, Earthbound, and Super Metroid. But one title that I played as a child outdoes all of these games for me. That game is The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past. In order to fully understand why this game means so much to me, we need to delve into the past a bit. The first Zelda I ever played was not A Link to the Past. Actually, the first one I played was Ocarina of Time. When I was 8, I helped my brother, sister, and mama to make it through Ocarina of Time. When I mentioned Zelda to my grandfather, he made sure that I had A Link to the Past, my own copy of Ocarina of Time, and yes, when it came out, Majora's Mask. The memories I had of playing Ocarina of Time are deeply embedded into my mind. But it was the time I spent with A Link to the Past that really defined my love for the entire series as a whole. A Link to the Past was my first Zelda that I beat on my own, and the experience was a solo one to me. I had no guides, internet was in its infancy, and I did not have access to these things as a kid. So I finished A Link to the Past all on my own as a 9-year-old kid over the summer. This may explain better why I never hesitate when asked what my favorite game is. A Link to the Past, obviously, and for good reason too. Outside of the nostalgia spill I just gave you, the game also does many other things right. It set up the 3 dungeons, a twist, and then the true game. The opening is a beautiful story. Your uncle leaves you alone in your house and tells you not to follow him. You being a kid, obviously you defy him and find a way to sneak into the castle. Once inside the sewers of the castle, you find your uncle, mortally wounded, and before he dies, he tells you to take his sword and shield and to rescue the princess. He says the princess is your destiny, then dies. Already this game has amped up its storytelling from many other games of its time. So you fight your way through the castle guards and get to the dungeon and rescue Princess Zelda. It is here she tells you more. You take her and find your way to the sanctuary, where a large portion of the story is given. Basically, you are the hero and you have to find the elder of Kakariko village. After talking to a random boy in the village, you find out that the elder is at the Eastern Palace. So you make your way all the way over there and find the elder, Sarasala, who will now and forevermore be known as Bob because that name. He bargains with you and tells you that if you can get the pendant from the Eastern Palace, then he will give you the Pegasus boots and will tell you more. The first true dungeon is the Eastern Palace, and this dungeon does a great job of introducing the player to the key items like the big key, and by collecting the dungeon item you can defeat the first dungeon and be back at Bob for your reward at no time. The progression of difficulty is fair, and the design makes these dungeons a pleasure to play. Excellent puzzles and a massive overworld give you lots to explore, and like in earlier games, this one rewards you heavily for exploration. Finding heart pieces hidden throughout the world will give you more health, and collecting the bottles placed around will give you room to purchase medicine from the witches or catching fairies with the bug net, which will automatically restore a portion of your health upon dying. Once you have defeated the 3 palaces in the land of Hyrule, you are prompted to go to the Lost Woods, where you will ultimately find the legendary Master Sword. With this sword in hand, you can then take on the evil priest Ganon. You will feel like a total badass throughout your return to Hyrule Castle, and when you reach Ganon at the end of the castle, you play a game of tennis with him, ultimately defeating him. And after all of that, you find yourself warped to a morbid world known as the Dark World. Turns out all of that exploration, all of those palaces, and even the encounter with Ganon was only a small portion of the entire experience, and you are tasked with defeating 7 bosses and saving the 7 maidens in order to unlock Ganon's tower. This experience as a kid wasn't a total surprise. After all, they did the exact same thing in Ocarina of Time, when the Master Sword transported you into the future state where Hyrule was in ruins. But this did feel different to me. All of a sudden, the entire world was changed. It wasn't just the exact world. It was an alternate dimension. All of a sudden, you felt weak, as the enemies are far stronger than any you face in the light world. And you had the ability to go to the light world with a mirror at any time, completely magical, and it really starts you over in a way by increasing the difficulty. The game lets you feel like a total badass before stripping you of that strength. Once again, you have heart pieces to find, dungeons to complete, upgrades to your sword to unlock, a new tunic that will have you damage, and many items both in and outside of dungeons to collect and make your way to the final confrontation. Along the way, you will find yourself becoming stronger and growing in the game. This is something that Zelda games excel at, making you feel incredibly powerful, and this is hard to do without being too easy. You earn your victories in this game, and just like every other Zelda game, the music is a great step up compared to the first 2 games. The music is mesmerizing and is a soundtrack to my childhood along with Ocarina of Time soundtrack. Secrets are everywhere. Again, you will eventually be able to maximize your sword to an incredible power state, upgrade your shield to reflect beams, have the power to freeze enemies with an ice rod, and once you have rescued all of the maidens, make your way to the tower, fully powered up and ready to kick some wizard ass. This game gets pretty hard, and the trick to beating it is simply learning all of the ways to prepare for each part of the game. For example, going to Turtle Rock or Ganon's Tower without a way to replenish your magic is suicide. Knowing all of these things can help you on your way to victory. Once you have made it through all of the trials in the tower and have defeated the 3 Light World bosses again, you make your way to Ganon once again. This time, there is 3 of them. It is easy to see which one is real though, and having 3 shots at you can help you in directing it to the real one. Keep this up and eventually you will have defeated Ganon. But what is this? At his defeat, it is shown that Ganon has been using Ganon all along, and he turns into a bat and flies away. You see a large hole made into the top of the pyramid, and you fly there to take on the true enemy of the game, Ganon. Before you take on Ganon, you will need to make sure to stock up on fairies or potions and to get silver arrows. It helps to get the golden sword too, which is at the same location as the silver arrows. Simply throw your sword into the pond and you will have it as long as you got the tempered sword upgrade. Without the silver arrows, Ganon cannot be defeated, so make sure you stock up on them. So here we are, face to face with the pig god. Just mercilessly attack him until his attack pattern changes, and he begins to knock the floor out. Be careful here, if you fall into the holes on the sides, you will have to restart the entire fight. At this point, light the torches and attack him with your sword. Be quick though, you need to shoot a silver arrow at him while he is stunned. After a few hits, he is defeated. You then make your way to the Triforce, and after Link touches the Triforce, a pizza dinosaur appears. Nah, I'm just kidding. The world is returned to normal, and your uncle is brought back to life. You have saved the land of Hyrule. Sit back and enjoy some of the most amazing music ever. A Link to the Past does a lot, and its sequels have all borrowed heavily from it with theming. This game gets a full 10 out of 10 for me, and I can honestly say this is the reason why 2D Zelda is my favorite kind of Zelda. If you have never played through A Link to the Past, then do yourself a favor and do so. It is an adventure of a lifetime and worthy of your time. So now that the game has been reviewed and I have shared my story with you, I hope you remember to smack that like button, subscribe to the channel, leave your thoughts in the comment section, and share this with all of your friends. Thank you all for watching. I want to take a minute to let you guys know that I have a Patreon for my channel. If you can give anything to the channel to keep these videos coming, then please go sign up and become a patron. The link is on screen and in the description. Every little bit really does help. Thank you all for joining me here on my birthday. Until next week, remember, stay nerdy.